Hello, crafters and artisans, and welcome back to Psychedelic Squid 5 Arts. Today, I'm going to show you how I fixed a cracked drive wheel. Sorry to my subscribers for the delayed upload. There were a lot of issues I ran into with this wheel. The first issue is that this wheel was separating at the joints because the center spindles were too long and forced into the drive wheel, putting a lot of outward tension on the wheel. This is probably what contributed the most to the crack, as well as these wood nails and the fact that the wheel had been glued together, allowing absolutely no movement from the wood as it heated and cooled. To start, I wanted to remove the drive wheel spindles, hub, and crank. To do that, I gently pried it apart using clamps, pushing from the inside in line with the dowels. As I do this, I want to be very careful to watch those nails at the top of the spindles, as I don't want them to crack the spindles. Had I known the nails were wood, I would have drilled them out, but I wasn't able to tell this before actually getting some out, and at that point I just kept going on the route I was on. Instead, as the spindles slowly pulled away from the wheel, I used my jeweler's saw to cut through them. You can see here I have about half of them out and cut through, but I have a few more to finish. As I was pushing these apart, this would wedge open here, and it created an additional stress that might have caused the wood to crack. So I had to use a wood wedge to pry these sections apart evenly. Finally, after getting the spindles and hub out, I was able to use a punch to separate the drive wheel pieces successfully in some places by using brute force. It was at this point I realized they had been glued in place, which made it extremely difficult to separate, so I ended up drilling out the dowels. But before that, I glued this broken piece back together. I used wood glue to reattach the broken section of the drive wheel, and I used a tourniquet-style clamp using rope and my mini pry bar to apply even pressure around the circumference of the drive wheel, as well as an additional clamp to prevent that piece from moving. I let that sit for 24 hours before using the same setup to drill out the dowels. To drill out the dowels, I did a pilot hole with a smaller drill bit in line with the dowel, and then I followed up with a drill bit that matched the dowel size. I ended up using a 5/16 inch drill bit and went all the way through the drive wheel. Here you can see some of the glue. I'm just going to sand that off later. Now that I separated the drive wheel pieces, I numbered them to keep them in order, as I planned to strip them before reassembly. I had numbered them before, and just the painter's tape took off the finish. I'm going to be using Ready Strip Advance. I've never used this before, but what I like about it is it cleans up with water and soap. I put this on and let it sit for 24 hours and then cleaned it up following the directions. I took this video before I sanded the remainder of the finish off, but I forgot to get a better video of it. Here you can see how they just drove the nails into the wood, which led to cracking. So I actually drilled these out using my Dremel. Here's the drive wheel after paint stripping and after I did a light sanding with 220 grit sandpaper. Here you can see I've cut new dowels to assemble the wheel. I'm going to use my clamps to hold the pieces in place as I tap them in so they don't separate. Once they're set, I'm going to sand them down flush. Now, to set the drive wheel spindles, I'm going to use 3/4 inch number 4 wood screws because I would like the ability to take this apart again if I need to. And here's the fixed drive wheel. I actually spent about 30 seconds looking for the repair, since after sanding it, it almost completely disappeared. The repair was actually right here. And there you go. That's how I fixed this cracked drive wheel. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments section below, and feel free to visit my Facebook page or Instagram to ask clarifying questions or about things I haven't covered yet. Thank you all so much for exploring the depths of your creativity with me, and I'll see you next time.